Alright, so in this reaction, we're going to be reacting to why didn't Mao conquer Taiwan? This is from History Matters. Let's jump straight to this.
In 1949, Mao Zedong proclaimed the creation of the People's Republic of China. Whilst he was doing this, the Chinese Civil War was still raging on, with the Kuomintang opposition fleeing to the island of Taiwan. And by 1951, all of mainland China and the island of Hainan was under the control of the Chinese Communist Party. Which raises the obvious question.
Wait, isn't like people talking about like China taking Taiwan right now? Like,
why didn't Mao conquer Taiwan?
Haven't they always had beef?
Well, the first reason was that Mao still needed to consolidate the Communist Party's hold on.
And it's Mao, not I think I said Mao or some shit, bro.
Mainland China. Now, the Communist Armed Forces, the People's Liberation Army, was about 3 times the size of the Kuomintang military, but numbers aren't everything. The PLA had a minuscule air force, whereas the Kuomintang had a modern one made up of mostly American fighters and bombers. Also, the PLA didn't have a navy, whereas the overwhelming majority of China's old ships had been taken to Taiwan. Mao stationed troops along the coastline and prepared for an invasion of the remaining Kuomintang positions, the closest of which were the Quemoy Islands. When the go-ahead was given, the invasion was, to put it mildly, a disaster. This setback wasn't enough to deter Mao.
How the fuck could China not invade Taiwan, bro? It's legit like 500 times its size.
He ordered plans for the final conquest of Taiwan to be drafted. The plan was to buy as many transportation vessels as possible and simply overwhelm the island with sheer numbers. This plan was scrapped because frankly it was a stupid one, and also Mao was concerned that the USA would intervene if he invaded. Which he was right about, because the United States placed its fleet between China and Taiwan and made it clear to Mao that any invasion would also mean war with them. However, by this point Mao...
Why was America so like interested in Taiwan? Like, why was they like protecting them? There must be some sort of reason.
Had another issue to deal with since the Korean War had just begun next door. This saw direct fighting between Chinese and American forces, and importantly, saw US President Harry Truman commit to defend non-communist regimes in the area, including Chiang Kai-shek's Kuomintang government in Taiwan. In 1953, a ceasefire ended the fighting on the Korean peninsula, and so Mao could turn his attention back to Taiwan. And boy did he, because the next year he ordered the shelling of the Quemoy Islands, to which the Taiwanese government responded tit for tat. Things began to escalate, and President Truman did 3 things. First of all, he sent reinforcements to Taiwan. Second, he and Congress passed legislation committing the US to defend Taiwan in the event of invasion. And third, he threatened to nuke China. This worked, and Mao, somewhat opposed to being nuked, ordered his forces to desist. And this threat convinced Mao of one thing: that China needed its own nuclear weapons if it was ever going to stand up to the United States or ever hope to assert itself over Taiwan.
My God.
Before these nuclear weapons were finished, Mao ordered the shelling of the islands again, because at this point, why not? It was something to do, I guess. This time the air forces got involved and hundreds of people died, and President Eisenhower threatened to invade the mainland if things didn't calm down, which they promptly did. Now, this was the last time that China attempted to forcibly capture territory from Chiang Kai-shek. When Mao died in 1976, his successor preferred a policy of peaceful reunification. In the end, Mao didn't conquer Taiwan for one very simple reason: he couldn't. The US Navy sat between China and Taiwan.
Legit, like America was just there, like just making sure that it didn't invade at all points. Like, why though? I'm pretty confused and interested to know, like, where are America's thought process with this? Like, you know, there must be something behind this.
It was by far the most powerful in the world, and when Mao tried to use force and nuclear retaliation by the United States was an ever-present threat. Not to mention that any attempt by Mao to take the island would have been costly in lives and money, which, given the fact he was trying to build a revolutionary government, was something that he needed more than Taiwan.
Why did he want the Taiwan island anyway? I understand why like countries want like countries around it that's attached to it, but an island next to it, like, why? Was it a part of China like before, and then they lost that part of China and he just wants it back? Like, what? But really interesting video. Enjoyed that one. Hopefully you guys did as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.